Tutorial videos are excellent for beginners, offering step-by-step guidance and visual demonstrations. However, they often present scenarios that may not fully capture the complexities and nuances of real-world projects. This is a comfortable place most techies find themselves in, and it can stifle the ability to translate the skills learned into solving interesting problems. In this episode, I sit with Joojo Dontoh as he shares ways people can move beyond just following tutorial videos to build very interesting projects. Enjoy today's episode. Okay, so hello everyone and welcome to the Techies podcast where we navigate today's tech wave one electrifying conversation at a time. I am your host Raymond Klutse. And today I have, if you are Ghanaian and you know the surname, obviously you would just wonder if it really is the same person's lineage. But I will leave that suspense for us to diversify later in the conversation. But yesterday I have Joojo Dontoh here to talk about a very interesting topic that I feel will be very beneficial to people. Because when I was starting my tech journey, I was very clueless. But anyways, let's just get into it. So Joojo Dontoh, thank you so much for making time in your different time zone to join the Techies podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me, Raymond. Thank you so much for being here. And I hope to share whatever I know with your listeners.
Perfect. Okay, so in the shortest amount of time, I'd like you to, introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, and then we can get into the juice of today's conversation.
Okay. Plain and flat. My name is Joojo Dontoh. I live in Malaysia. At the moment, I'm a software engineer for AirAsia, a low-cost airline that flies around Southeast Asia. I am in charge of identity access management for AirAsia, authorization and authentication for all the users around all the lines of businesses within AirAsia. Some of my hobbies include writing. I have my personal blog. I also write for the engineering blog in AirAsia. And I hope to share whatever I know on this podcast and hope to have a good time with Raymond.
Right. Thank you. So I'm just wondering, should we just diversify the surname, or we should leave that later into the conversation, just so that people who are wondering if it is or not.
Yeah, if you're wondering if it is, it is.
Fair. So for those of you who are listening who do not know the surname Dontoh, it's a household name. We grew up watching his dad do agro, and I think he did other stuff. Was it by the fireside as well?
Yeah, and he's basically a veteran actor.
He's a veteran actor. Everyone knows David Dontoh. He is. So before we get into that, let's talk about growing up as a celebrity, because Charlie, your dad being David Dontoh, I'm sure
you see, that's the thing. That's the thing. I wouldn't say I grew up a celebrity. I didn't. Yes, it's basically fame and celebrity by proxy. Okay. Yes. So just in school and a few other places, people knew my dad. Yeah, it did come with its advantages and its disadvantages, but I am grateful and privileged and glad to be in this position.
Fair. That's nice.
Yeah.
So even before we get into anything techy, because this is quite a tech podcast, there is the tendency for parents to choose careers for their kids. And here you are, David Dontoh's son. You have very much everything in the Ghanaian industry for you to become maybe a Van Vicker or whoever it is. And I mean, you had everything possible. Why didn't you possibly, maybe explore that area of becoming your next dad, or holding up the name, and you chose to run away?
I think it is basically a matter of the talents available to you. I can't act. I can't do any kind of acting, and my talents in that area are none to zero.
Oh wow!
So yeah, if I did really decide to pursue a career in acting, I don't think I'd be able to feed myself or feed my family.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see. But how many are you? I,
So
I don't know much. Are you the only child or you?
no, so I have a sister. We are just two. Yes.
Okay.
So I live here. My sister lives in Australia. She
Oh,
works there.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And does she also have the bit of the acting in here?
No, no. Even worse
Wow.
than I.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, we did have a few stints as kids, commercials,
Okay.
radio,
Okay.
TV.
Right.
Yeah, but that's about it. That's about it.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
nice. That's nice. Well, that's cool. That's cool. Okay, so you didn't go down the acting line, but then you end up finding yourself doing tech. And I keep saying that tech found me. It was by chance. I wasn't one of those people who, yes, I used to play with PCs and everything, but if you know me very well, I'm more of an orator, I'm more of languages and everything. So even till now, even though I'm in tech, I'm still very actively, a language person. What does your tech journey look like?
So initially, I started out as a designer. I've
Okay.
always had a talent to uh, visually create things, to
Mm,
design, to be able to outline design identity roadmaps.
right.
So I started out in advanced film school. I did visual arts. Yeah, I did visual arts in
But
advanced
for
film
those of you who
school,
are listening, is the only school in Ghana, so I'm so
and
sorry.
that is right. That is art. Yes. Yeah. So I did visual arts, and then I moved here to Malaysia. So during my first degree was basically it had to do with human interface design, human interaction design, so
Mm,
industrial design. So that is the path I chose for myself. And my parents were very supportive. But before I went to the university, I was working for a while. So I worked for Famous Image, a few other companies. Also as an intern, I went to NIIT. But when I got into uni, I quickly realized, throughout the syllabus and what I was being taught, I felt like I could already do the things I was going to go through a whole degree
right,
for.
right,
Yeah.
right.
So, and another reason was I felt like unfortunately, I felt like I wouldn't make the kind of money I wanted to make. So I quit my first degree.
Mm.
Yeah. And then I went to the next best thing for me, which is tech.
And I really like this because the way the education system in Ghana is, to some extent, it can be very limiting because they assume that you study science to become do what we are doing, tech and everything. But I know one friend of mine who also did visual arts, and now he's an architect. And I've been trying to debunk that high school is just supposed to, find your curiosity, expose you to an area that you may be curious about. But when you leave, it's not supposed to be limiting. And yeah, but it's nice to see that you have been able to debunk that because coming from 'cause no one would have believed that you did visual arts and then you are now working at Air Asia talking about. I mean, and the way you even got into tech, you started with the bit of the artsy bit of it, HCI and that kind of stuff. So that's a very interesting way if anyone wants to pivot. Okay, so what intrigued you about getting into the hard part of tech, like the coding bits, like the whole bit of coding and everything? How would you say the whole transition was? Was it hard or you had good support?
Okay. I'm not gonna lie. From the beginning, I got in for the money.
Okay.
So I was 2 years into no, I was 1.5 years into my first degree,
Mm,
and I decided I had to switch, and I had to do it for the
mm,
money.
okay.
So yes, throughout my childhood, my sister and I had a computer really early on, so we got to explore so many different things, and that was the path that I was most interested in after design.
Mm,
So I switched to my computer science degree, and you can only imagine what it feels like coming directly from visual arts, because in infantry school visual arts, you don't do any kind of, you do some math, but it's basically called math, basic math.
mm,
So imagine that jumping from that into a CS degree, digital systems physics. So my foundation year I had to do physics, math 2, and a few other intensive subjects. So in the beginning, it was really hard. It was
mm,
really tough to basically shift my form of thinking and my my mental capacity. It was
mm,
difficult to shift from that to basically a math based degree.
Mm,
So at that time, I was pretty clueless, zero. Yeah, yeah.
mm. I see. So, how did you navigate that? I wanted to talk a little bit about it. People always, I mean, someone's probably listening at right now and goes like, "Oh yeah, okay, maybe I'm also coming from a different career, so hey, I'm going to do tech," until they hit the road blocks and they're like, Can I do this?" If you can give us like practical ways you handle this, because this is going to even help us talk more about today's topic.
Okay, so in the beginning, uh, I dived in head first into tutorials. Okay, and I'll say what the tutorials taught me the most was it just gave me hints about various technologies,
Mm,
and it sharpened my ability to follow instructions
all right.
in the beginning.
Mm,
Yes, so when I got into computer science, specifically on the math background. For math, I
right.
was very weak, so I had to consistently practice every day. This is
Mm,
specifically to my degree and not real life experience. But to
mm,
be able to learn how to code, I was just using YouTube. So any assignment I had, just go on YouTube and everything is pre-built and you just follow the instructions on how to build it. You don't know what this means. You don't know how, systems come together. You don't understand anything about HTTP
right.
communication.
Right.
Yes. So I just dove headfirst into tutorials, which I think I would have changed if I had the chance to go back. I may change. Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
All right. Before we come back to that chain, because I always ask that question somewhere in the middle. But okay, so tutorials, YouTube is flooded. I feel um,
Extreme. Yeah.
people say YouTube is the best university. To some
True.
extent, I agree and disagree, because
Yeah. Yeah.
universities are rather maybe more organized, a very pedagogic approach to most of the things they're teaching you. Whilst YouTube, you could have so many lecturers who may be teaching the same thing, different styles, different orders, and everything. You said you went about going, or you went down the tutorials path. Was it Coursera? Was it Udemy? Was it YouTube? And if it was YouTube, the Open University, who guided you in knowing what to watch? Did you have some mentors that were saying, you know what, watch this channel, when you finish this, watch this, or you just, because I know you said you went head first, or you were just drowning along the way?
So to be very honest with you, I didn't have any adequate guidance. So
Mm,
it was basically on a need basis. My relationship with YouTube and tutorials was on a need basis. So I was lucky enough to a certain extent to have my university help us apply the knowledge we learned from the CS degree.
good, right.
So while trying to apply the knowledge, you have to build things. You want to know how they are built. So I just went straight into YouTube, how do I do this? Then I follow the steps. How do I do this? I follow the steps. I had no fundamentals, I had no foundation. So it was basically just reacting to the stuff I am being taught in class, reacting to some of the subjects I am doing. That is basically the relationship I had with YouTube. I didn't do anything on Coursera. I didn't do
Mm,
anything on Udemy. I didn't have any kind of structured learning outside of uni.
mm.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
okay. So with that approach, would you say it was good for you? Because one will also say, sometimes when you put in too much, like too many structures, you end up, limiting the curiosity of the person. Let me give an example. When I was in France, my masters was, for lack of a better word, chaotic. The first year we did about 16 to 17 courses in different, now I mean it's a university, so they had a pedagogic approach, but it was just they were exposing you to so much information, so much knowledge. You were just moving in so many, like in so many spheres. Although I was very, overwhelmed by all that, I think it's all contributed to the way my curiosity is on a lot of issues. But maybe it didn't work for some. I don't know. Did that, open um open fire exception, for the lack of a better word. Since we are techies, we use a bit of techie language. Yeah. Did that, although it was burning, did that help, or you feel like you say you do things differently, or you feel maybe a pedagogical approach would have worked better for you and for someone else?
I think, okay, personally for me, I think how I would have thrived the most is to have a balance between both approaches.
Mm, mm,
So now the way I handle, okay, in the past, the way I used to handle learning was basically fulfilling the marks or the grades you have in school,
mm, right,
which basically means, going through whatever you have to go through to do what you
right,
have to. Yes.
right.
And with respect to finishing my degree, passing my degree, that was great. That was great. But with
Mm,
respect to properly understanding, how things work, that was
mm,
very bad for me.
mm,
Because when you start to ingest knowledge, you ingest knowledge up until the point where sometimes it is detrimental to your understanding. So
right,
when you flood yourself in the beginning with so many different things, uh, without understanding the basics, you start to confuse yourself, which may even be better as compared to somebody who doesn't have any knowledge at all.
right,
Yes.
right.
So, going back, even though I was able to pass the subjects and the stuff I did in uni, I think I would have had a more structured approach outside of
Mm, mm,
uni syllabus.
mm,
Trying to go online, I would have tried to understand things, crash courses, fundamental crash courses, trying to understand the basics of things, and then I could explore afterwards.
right,
Yes, yes,
right,
yes.
right. Okay, so for every techie, when you enter your computer science class, the first thing they'll always try and make you do is "Hello World," whether it's CI, whether okay maybe CI/CD, no, but typical programming, "Hello World," even networking, you will be surprised that the professor will try and find a way to give that "Hello World" feel, and "Hello World" used to give me PTSD because although it was an introduction, I was always confused. Like honestly, for me, my whole tech journey was a whole mess.
Same, same.
But then we do, and I mean, I read science and everything, but even how I chose IT was a whole thing altogether. But I'm sure we'll delve into that because I've seen your tweet. So we'll talk about how our careers change, or how the fantasies of our careers possibly change.
Yes.
But hello world, you write your first code. So whether if it is traditional languages like C or Java, you have to import, you have to do the hash include, blah blah blah, studio, whatever it is. If it's Python, you just let Python do all the things for you, and you just go.
Yeah.
um and when you finish hello world in class, and then maybe you want to go further, you go on YouTube and then you see you're coding alongside the person who is teaching. You feel like you are building something. You feel like you are in control of the programming until you go back to an exam, and then they've given you, okay, do like Fibonacci series. And
We
you
would
find
not.
yourself listen, and you find yourself wanting, and then you are like, oh, but I was just coding very well in this tutorial video. Why couldn't I do it? Why do you think that we love tutorial videos and then we get stuck there?
You see, because I think it gives you a false, I won't say a false sense, but it gives you some sort of a sense of accomplishment.
Mm,
As an engineer, being able to run software and realize it is working and it is doing all the instructions you have told it to do, it's a very gratifying experience.
mm,
And that kind of short-term gratification is what a lot of the Hello World YouTube videos give to you.
mm, mm,
It is good to understand how to get an application up and running, but within the context of uh uni and some of the things you may see in your exams, I would say some of the exams are written in such a or set in such a way for you to apply what you have already learned in the class. But being able to apply knowledge is also being able to use knowledge.
Mm,
And YouTube videos don't help you to use the knowledge. They just, give you a list of steps to follow, and whether or not you understand it, you don't know.
mm,
So being able to understand and apply, let's say, uh, write the Fibonacci sequence, uh, uh, write the code to generate some kind of a Fibonacci sequence in some language, or write the pseudocode for the algorithm. That would mean you have to understand how it works and being able to
mm,
implement it in various other places, which is
mm,
what YouTube doesn't give you. It just gives you, to some extent, it just gives you the instant gratification of being able to write a hello world application, which is
mm,
what, if I look back in my uni days or my early days, I would have, tried to do more.
mm. All right. Okay, so on the back of that, we are constantly seeing a lot of YouTubers come out. I think it's almost becoming a part of the tech bro journey. After you have worked for some time, you've accomplished stuff. You have a few badges. Sorry, you have a few badges in the tech space. You have a few mentees that you have mentored who probably are working at a plush place, automatically become an instructor. And it's not a bad thing. Everyone feels they have knowledge or fresh approach to giving knowledge. Before we continue with my question, have you become that tech bro? Are you a tutor, or are you content creator in terms of the tech stuff by chance?
I'll say the only kind of content I create is I write articles,
Okay.
basically. Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Beyond writing articles, I haven't really done well in the mentor mentee space, basically because of time, and I am not necessarily one to fix the mentor mentee relationship in stone. To me, it could just basically be a friendship.
Mm,
Like I give you some kind of guidance over coffee, or yeah, over lunch, stuff like that. Yes. So the only content I create is, basically just articles.
right. And I think your tweets also, contribute, because I mean, you do talk about some techie stuff from
Yeah,
time
I
to
try.
time.
I
Yeah,
try.
you try. Okay, so I got to know of you from that video you did, that machine learning project you did. And it was for me, it was just funny. Although the content for our typical Ghanaian context may be a bit extreme, it was still a good use case. And so when I was doing my data science degree, my goal was to, as much as possible, apply it. They say, well, act local but think global. I think it's a typical thing you hear, I just see people say. And I think it's a typical thing you hear a lot, when it comes to building stuff. And for me, it was just intriguing, because when I was doing the data science degree, almost all the examples were all linked to very foreign examples, which, if maybe I had you as a lecturer, maybe I would have enjoyed my deep learning course.
No, no, you don't want to have that.
Oh, really? Oh, I don't think so. Maybe I would have enjoyed it more. But it was nice to see such an application of machine learning and all. Just walk us through first how you got the idea. How does one wake up and just look at his fingers and think about all the possible ways to communicate without his voice, and the Ghanaians understand it clearly what I mean?
So basically, I stumbled upon this thing. I think it's created by Google, Teachable Machine. It's
Okay.
Teachable Machine is a very cool tool. Teachable Machine basically abstracts the process of creating your own model, and yeah, having your training data and then your actual data. It abstracts that whole process and just, provides a GUI approach for anybody who wants to tinker with machine learning models.
Mm,
So for my master's degree, I specialized in machine learning.
mm,
And so I saw this tool and I thought it was pretty cool, because for people who they hear machine learning and they feel like, oh, it's just too much tech, and
mm, mm,
it's too much science and ones
mm,
and zeros, and it's not always the case. So finding this tool and realizing how much it has abstracted the things. It's very nice to me. So I went through it, and it basically does uh image recognition.
Right.
So it's not exactly pattern recognition. It's basically image recognition.
Mm,
You have a model, you train the model. So I thought this was pretty cool. And there's also another framework called P5JS, which you can use in conjunction with
mm,
uh Teachable Machine, because
right.
Teachable Machine can expose the models to P5JS, and then you can write code on the models that you have trained. So I looked at this, and it was so cool because I saw people had, created very different things. So I said to myself, if I could train this model to read my hand signals, and then I could create small PNG files, and put some of the craziest stuff in them, and just write the code in such a way that the model reacts to what I do, and
Right.
position the images on the screen to display based on the likelihood of a particular image the machine has learned.
Right.
It could be funny. So initially, it was just I thought this would be a very funny joke. Yeah,
Right.
this would be a funny joke. So I wrote it in P5JS. I imported the models from Teachable Machine,
Right.
and yes, I was just basically running it with my webcam,
Right.
and yeah, I just decided to record it and put it online, and then it just cut off.
Okay, so before we come to what's the details of the model, what was the aftermath like? I know for those of you who know the content of the video, it's not necessarily vulgar, but it is also not necessarily welcoming to a person who is like the old folk will not find that funny. How do you think people reacted to that video?
So I think because Twitter is Twitter is a platform that has lots of youth. Okay,
Okay.
I say Twitter is a platform that has people my age, your age, hardly ever the old generation.
Right.
So I think it was widely accepted, and people laughed about it because of the age group, and it was pretty funny for people who are like us.
Right.
So I think the platform helped a lot
Mm.
in propelling how you know famous this thing became.
Mm.
Yeah.
Right. And how did your parents react by chance?
I think my mom saw the article, and she just laughed.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, she just laughed at it. Yeah, that's basically it.
Yeah. And your dad? He probably
I don't
just
think my dad saw it. I don't think my dad saw it. I don't think. And even if he did, yeah, he didn't talk to me about it.
right.
Yeah.
Because I'm just wondering, there is this tendency for celebrity kids to have to uphold a particular kind of, behavior. And it's like, you feel like, okay, maybe wearing the Donta bra. I mean, I found it to be funny because I haven't seen any application of machine learning that way. Did you start, the part of you feel like maybe it will backfire and it goes like maybe you see a typical Ghanaian article where they don't know how to do correct headlines. David Donto's son David Donto's son insults people on social media.
I don't know. To be very honest, I am.
A liberal
I
person.
yeah, I'm very liberal. I don't worry too much about uh a brand or a name. The main thing was basically to showcase
Mm,
how easy it is to use Teachable Machine,
right.
how much it can be fun for
Mm,
somebody to get into machine learning.
right. Right.
Yes, how interesting it could be. It's just a colorful way to shed light on some of the things people think are extremely complex.
Mm, okay.
So I didn't necessarily think about the impact. It may have some kind of impact. I'm not sure, but I
Mm,
think the impact I would love for it to have is being able to just understand or play with tech, because
mm,
of some of these tools that have abstracted
got
the
it.
very complex parts of it. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. And I think that should be it. I mean, it sparked a whole conversation. People were laughing, and like you said, Twitter is very much our age group. So, and I know you didn't wake up with the intention to necessarily communicate those. Um, ha- yes, that line of communication wasn't, it was just a display
True,
of
true,
text. So
true,
anyone who's
true, true.
listening, trying to think Jojo is very, vile. No, he's not. He's a very cool guy. All right. So just to get a bit into the details of that project, did you have to label the data yourself, or does it do the data augmentation, that like all that kind of stuff? Does it do it for you, or yeah? I'm just intrigued.
So basically,
Mm,
Teachable machine uses image classification. So yes, you just have to do some labeling because
mm,
Teachable machine offers you a bare bones model. You can train. So it just allows you to have a set of
mm,
training
mm,
data, and then have the result of the training data. So you have a set, you label that set,
mm,
then you can pass that
mm,
set through the machine, through the model.
okay.
Yes, and that process going through the model trains it. So basically
Mm,
it just uses it's just plain image classification,
mm,
which you can do
mm,
straight away from the user interface,
got it.
which is good because it's real
Got
time.
it.
It provides a real time
Got it.
ability to
Mm,
classify, some of the images that you want to put into it. And
mm,
then because Teachable Machine avails the model to you, you can use the model in different languages. You can in Python you can download the Teachable Machine framework. In Node, JavaScript, you can download the framework, and then the model is hosted somewhere. The model you've trained is hosted somewhere, and the model has an ID, so you can access the model from your service, and then use the model with the data that you provide to it. So I mean that could be intensive for whatever application you have because it will constantly keep making calls. Yes, because you don't have the model on premises, you have the model on the cloud. Yes, so that is basically how it works. So that it's just bare bones. It's just small labeling. Just train your machine. Your model sits somewhere. You can reference it in your application and do whatever you want to.
Right. This is going to segue into my next question, like after this. But have you possibly considered maybe extending that whole capability more to one of your favorite hobbies, that's being a gym rat? Haven't you considered maybe using that to become some form of, for some of us who are still struggling with 30, I mean, I'm not 30 yet, but I'm already showing 30 plus stomach vibes. Like, use that to use that to maybe help people with, how to lose weight or how to be in the gym. I know I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah, that idea has crossed my mind before, but the thing I thought about the most with respect to that idea is, for gym and uh, people who want to get fit, there are so many nuances. There are
Mm,
so many differentiating factors for
mm,
everyone.
mm,
So somebody could eat a certain way, somebody could, gym a certain way. I mean, there are very basic poses and the kind of
mm,
stuff you should do in the gym,
mm,
but
mm,
things affect different people very differently. So I thought about an application like this, but it will be an oversimplification of things you may need to do in the gym. The very direct application I could think of was having movement pattern recognition
mm,
for different kinds of exercises, and the application would be trained across lots of people doing the exercises properly, and it could
mm,
tell you whether you're doing it right or
mm.
wrong based
Right,
on pattern recognition of your body
right,
and stuff like that.
right,
Yeah,
right.
so that's the basic application I thought about it, but it would be an oversimplification for lots of people because probably there are high difference limb differences, muscle density, bone
Mm,
density, and stuff like that.
mm. So you're right. I think I saw a recent video of yours. You were doing. I saw a bit of the whole
Yeah, pattern. Yeah, yes,
pattern. Yeah, and it was very cool. So it's very obvious you love to go to the gym, and fitness
I
is a
try.
part of. Okay, we have to talk about that because the way you guys have, like, the way when I see people who are toned, and I have been there before, and I know the amount of work required.
Yeah, it's painful.
It's what, like, how does one inflict such pain and still be smiling about it? But walk us through, that bit of your life. How much time do you spend in the gym? Is it a contributing factor to, your mental health, anything, or it's just you just fell in love with the gym? Were you always a gym rat or?
Okay, so I wasn't always a gym. I was very skinny growing up, extremely skinny.
Mm.
And I'm not even gonna lie, I got into a gym because of girls. Because
Okay.
yeah, I was skinny, and
Right.
when yeah, trying to get girls, it can be very detrimental to the the
The brand,
communication, because
right?
yeah, it cannot be lanky walking around.
No, no.
So yeah, so in the beginning it was for women. I started to eat a lot, and then I
Mm,
started to work out like crazy. I did so many bad things in the beginning, things
mm,
that I wouldn't do now. But
mm.
continuously growing and maturing throughout your gym journey, you realize your rest is important, water is important, food is important.
Women, I know all this.
Uh, yes, you you understand so many different things, and you also understand how gym impacts different aspects of your life.
Mm,
So with respect to discipline, sometimes people say how you do anything is how you do everything.
mm,
So if you are able to inflict a level of discipline, with respect to building your
mm,
body, that kind of discipline can leak into different aspects of your side of your
mm,
life, like your relationships, your work, and that's how it works for me. So
mm,
because I have been able to get over the pain of being disciplined through the gym,
mm,
I can also apply that, you know, concept to my professional life.
mm.
As an engineer, there are so many times where you have to be persistent.
Right,
You have to be very consistent. At the moment,
right.
I'm working on this service, and the last deployment of the service was in 2019, and everything is
Oh
breaking. The service is in
no.
Python.
Oh,
Written, I haven't written in Python in a long time. So I basically, Google has the deadline for supporting Python 2.7 frameworks and Node
yeah.
16, yeah, and
Right.
January 30th. So we basically have under just over 2 months. Yes, just over 2 months. So I have to update some of these services, and old services. It's so difficult, and I have had to be consistently persistent. You fix this, you upgrade this package, and it breaks another package.
Mm,
So I've been doing this for the last 3 days, and as an engineer, these are some moments when you have to be persistent. You cannot
mm.
give up. You have to keep going,
Got it.
and being able to link such concepts from other aspects of your life, like the gym, being
Mm,
consistent and disciplined will help you.
mm,
So you just so many times in the gym where you want to give up, be like, nah, let me finish this set. When you're writing the code, trying to fix the thing, be like, nah, let me try this solution and see. So that's
right.
how it bleeds into other aspects of your life.
All right. That's interesting. Now let's get away from the heavy techie stuff. I've seen a bit of your social media. One would think you're a model. Others would think you travel and everything. Um, but walk us through what is the recreative part of you? Apart from, I know you said you'd like to write and all that. We'll talk about that later. But what do you do apart from like going to the gym to wind down, take it easy? What does that look like?
So for like most people, we watch, television shows.
Mm,
So Netflix, Amazon, Disney, all the stuff. So I have a few shows I watch every now and then, and uh, this may be counterintuitive for a lot of people, but I like engineering.
mm,
Uh, I like to build systems, so sometimes I work on the weekend.
mm,
A lot of the time when I'm in the shower, I have ideas to help my team. I have ideas uh to build stuff that may improve uh site reliability
mm,
or improve developer happiness. So 2-3 weeks ago, I had two ideas of building a pre-warming system and automating our secret encryption and decryption. And those were very interesting ideas for me. So sometimes in my free time, some of the things I don't get to build at work, I just build them.
mm,
So I just thought about how I could, write a pre-warming service that is generic enough for all our 30 plus teams around AirAsia to use, and specifically for my
mm,
team to use.
mm,
Because, sometimes you face problems that you you have to think outside of the box. We use Kubernetes, and we have a horizontal port auto scaling system, but sometimes that's not enough. Sometimes the amount of requests that may come in at a particular goal can take down your system. Sometimes attacks, come in and can deny service for many different users. So sometimes you have to pre-warm the service. And we did stuff like this by going into Kubernetes or getting in touch with somebody from DevOps. So I just had an idea to abstract this approach, and I had it in the shower, and it's very interesting to build stuff like this in your free time. Yes, it's very interesting to explore different opportunities of how you can go through engineering. So sometimes that's what I do for my hobbies. Yeah, outside of that, I may just go for a run or stuff like that. Yeah.
And travel? Do you? I think you're
Yes.
a hiker a little. I can see you sometimes in the top of the of mountains and all. I think France exposed me to a friend who created a hike out of me. Let me just put it out there. So one time I sent a picture to my dad, typical African household, and here you are sitting at the edge of a cliff. And I don't swim. I stopped swimming those days when Shangri-La had swimming lessons. I stopped.
Oh, Shangri-La.
Charlie. Listen, I stopped those lessons and everything, and now Shangri-La is no longer exists, because those times Shangri-La was it was the
Yeah,
creme
that
de
was
la
a
creme,
crescent
right?
place to
Yeah,
be.
that meat pie. I don't know whoever will not go back down memory lane. And then they see me. I'm not as fit I'm supposed to. I mean, I lost a bit of weight and everything because obviously school will make you lose weight until then you go into depressive eating and then you gain it all over together. And they see me at the edge of a cliff, and that thing where your parents, their hearts are boiling, they have so much to say, but then they know that whether they say it or they don't say it, you've already sent the picture, you are back home safe. They're screaming, they will scream. Not much can be done about it. But yeah, I'm just wondering, how does your travel, life look like?
So so a lot of the time, okay, before I met my girlfriend, I didn't used to travel a lot. I didn't used to go out
Hey,
because
you've probably broken a few hearts by putting that out there. But let's continue. Let's continue.
yeah. So every now and then we
Mm,
have, and it's not basically just traveling. We have hike activities.
mm,
We may consider a camp or an island,
right.
and it's nice to explore these different places. It's nice to take a break from work. So every now, I'm not an avid traveler. I'm definitely
Mm,
not an avid traveler, but uh every once in a while, a small vacation somewhere just to
mm.
relax and enjoy yourself. And one of the things about me too is that I do not like nature. I am not a nature person. Yeah, I
Oh,
hate nature. Yeah. So yeah, I'm not very fond of it. I,
right.
I like architecture. I like architecture, solid
Okay.
metal, yeah, cold
Okay.
glass
Okay.
more.
Right.
Yes,
That's
yes.
fine.
Yeah,
That's fine.
so I enjoy those scenarios more. But every now and then I try to travel a bit.
Right. Okay, let's talk a bit about family dynamics. I left home and it has been the most rewarding but also the most scary thing to do, to be far away. And you are even further. You are in you're so far, you're on the other side. And I want to know, or I want to believe that or I'll just let you go. What did growing up with your dad look like, your family and everything? Is a close knit family, and how did that affect you eventually? Because now your sister is also far away, and like you're all just leveraging tech to keep to keep in touch. How is that how is that like?
So it was basically a very nuclear family, straight up textbook, mother, father, son, daughter.
Same as me. We also two. I don't know who's older for your family.
Yeah, older kid, older boy, younger sister.
Okay, so the other way.
Yeah,
I'm the
very,
younger
very
boy.
textbook. Yeah,
Right.
very textbook. So we were pretty close up until high school. I had to move, to Cape Coast because we live in Accra. I had to move to Cape Coast.
Mm,
Later on, my sister moved to, she went to Gay, Wesley
mm,
Girls.
mm,
So we were a close knit family. We were together up until secondary school,
all
and then
right.
after secondary school, the dispersing happened. So my mom also started working outside of Ghana,
Mm,
and after uni, I came to Malaysia. So I came to Malaysia at 19. Very daunting at that time, but I had friends here. Super shout out to George and Ken and his family for taking me in when I came here because I was pretty young and I didn't know my way around. But
Mm,
yeah, so we were together up until high school, and then after high school, everybody dispersed. And for every family, I'm sure your family also has a WhatsApp group.
we all do.
Yeah, we all have WhatsApp groups.
Okay.
That's how we communicate and
Mm,
we speak to each other. Yeah.
that's nice. Now, amongst many countries, the typical Ghanaian, there are two. Make lending. For those of you who are not for those of you who are not Ghanaian, I just spoke in our in our local dialect. Even like the funny thing is, even in school, the examples they were giving us in English or else London is the capital of Britain. So we are wired to see the UK to be home because maybe we're colonized by them. Or Miko USA, and that's also in our local dialect. I'm going to the US, and then I see that you are in Malaysia, and I'm like, is it the language? Is it?
So,
Yeah,
so in
walk
the
us through.
beginning, yeah, in the beginning, I did not. In Malaysia was not the plan. I wanted to go to France. I wanted to go to France to play football. So I used to play
Oh,
football.
okay, right.
Yeah, I used to play football for a while, and I wanted to go to France, but Charlie visa happened. So you know how it is. So I decided. I had a friend here, George, who told me about the opportunities in Malaysia and being able to come to Malaysia and then go to Australia.
Mm,
So I came to Malaysia, deciding the plan was to study here and then, probably migrate to Australia. It still is a plan, but initially it was supposed to happen quickly. But I got to Malaysia and with respect to what the things I wanted to do, technology, Malaysia is relatively technologically advanced.
right.
So there's a lot of knowledge here and the standard of living is pretty cheap. It's
Okay.
pretty cheap here. Yeah, it's not expensive. You know, co- on a worldwide scale, it's
Right.
very cheap to live here, rent
Mm,
everything. So
mm,
I said, why not give this place a chance?
mm,
And 11 years later,
wow. So how has that been? A young bloke leaving. I mean, you were there with a few friends, but leaving the shores of Ghana to go to Malaysia and having to live there. Like, what did that look like for you? Did you break down? I know everyone sees you to be a strong guy, but would you say you shed a tear here and there from time to time? Were you homesick?
to be very honest with you, I was excited. I was
Oh,
excited. I wasn't thinking about home. I wasn't sad. I was just excited to leave and the opportunities and accessibility to basic amenities and to technology and just a better life just it just got me so excited. I was hardly ever thinking about Ghana.
mm,
I wasn't too intrigued about going to Ghana in the first few years because I'd had enough of Ghana and
mm,
getting used to the standard of living here was just such a very huge contrast.
mm,
Uh, the transportation system is amazing. The banking system is amazing. You want to get things get done easily around here.
mm,
There are so many basic amenities that are considered a luxury in Ghana that are not considered a luxury here.
mm,
So it was just an amazing, first few years, over here. And to be very frank with you, I wasn't sad. I wasn't sad. I wasn't because every now and then I got to speak to my family, and that was enough for me. Just
mm.
chilling, and yeah, young and in uni, just really messing up.
You you enjoyed the typical uni life. I understand. Okay. So our conversation has been around, this whole tutorials. You've mentioned a lot of things, how you came into it and all. And one of my main goals for this is to try and get us to move away from this typical cycle, or for lack of a better word, um, um dead hole. Is that even a word? I don't even know. But
It's your boreal hell.
exactly. I think, thank you so much. The tutorial hell what are some of the practical ways you think we can do that? Because here you are, you were introduced to machine learning, you saw an example of a simple platform that could abstract all the complexity of machine learning, from the feature engineering to the whole typical deep learning stuff behind the scenes, but make it very fun. You built a project, you became viral and everything. These are some of the things that people can, intentionally build, go into interviews and walk people through their problem solving approach and everything. And even if they did not necessarily build a hardcore typical machine learning, maybe doing the whole, I've even forgotten a lot of my deep learning stuff, but maybe the like having the different layers, whether you're using the curve two, all that kind of stuff,
Yes, yes,
uh,
supervised, unsupervised.
supervised, all that kind of stuff. But at least you know the theoretical part of it, and then you go into an interview. These are medals that you can go into interviews with. Now, and even with AI, now you can even build on top of AI to show your curiosity. But people's GitHubs may not necessarily have a lot of project, because some of them feel like, where do I get started from? What do I do? How do I get about it? You have been able to navigate that. How would you say we can move beyond that, both for professionals and people yet to start their careers?
Okay, so it's different for professionals and people who are yet to start their career. So for people who are yet to start their career, I think learning can be divided into two phases. So I
Mm,
think there's passive learning,
mm,
and then there's active learning. So I mean, one will consider passive learning as basically just absorbing and reacting to information, and just taking it in, just listening. There's no kind of interaction. And somebody will also consider active learning as, you know, try to be able to enhance your understanding with hands-on activities, which involves applying the knowledge you have.
right.
Yes, I think specifically for somebody who is about to start their career, not started their career yet, I think you may need to have a reasonable amount of passive learning, passive
Mm,
knowledge ingestion, and you need to be selective about this, because it will help you understand fundamentals. Fundamentals are severely important.
mm,
Fundamentals give you the legs to walk within the career. It gives you the ammunition to face things head on, and it gives you the
mm,
ability to think creatively. So it is very integral and crucial for somebody who hasn't started their career yet to have a fair amount of passive learning.
mm,
Yes, and after a certain point, you need to, for some way somehow, engage in some kind of project-based learning,
mm,
trying as much as possible to apply the knowledge you've had, being
mm,
creative with some of the different things. An example is the machine learning model I built.
mm,
You understand machine learning, and you know how it works. There's a model, you train the model, you use the model. So how can you apply it in a different context? Which is
mm,
what I did with that, funny video.
mm,
So this is basically for somebody who hasn't started their career. For somebody who you are in your career, a lot of the time, learning while you are working is on a need basis. So you need to work on something, you have to pick that up. And also for that, there has to be a balance between fairly understanding the basics and then, picking things up as you go on. So for a lot of us, or for a lot of people who may end up, being stuck in tutorials, the ability to be able to try and apply the knowledge you've had, build something, have people look at it,
mm,
have some kind of a feedback loop, which is
mm,
very great. In the case of having a mentor, or being a mentee to
mm,
someone,
mm,
you know. So for somebody who hasn't started their career, I think I would say you have like 60 to 70% passive learning,
mm,
which will give you basics and understanding, and create your own small stuff, apply
mm,
the stuff you've learned.
mm,
And for somebody who is in their career, early career, uh passive learning should be, I think this is not set in stone, but reasonably around 30 to 40%. And then based on what you are working on, because during your career, learning things you don't use may be detrimental to you, because you don't have infinite resources. You waste your time. and you may not apply the stuff you are using, so you may not be able to retain the knowledge. So based on what you're working on, trying to learn new stuff, you can force yourself and expose yourself to so many different things at work.
Right.
Yes. So that's how it could apply to somebody who is in their early career.
Right. I think one of the things that people also face is finding a problem to solve, and I don't know if there are some good websites out there. Or I want to know, like, how did you expose yourself? Because I know in typical lectures or in typical maybe entrepreneurial courses, they'll tell you the problem around, like, there are problems around you. Just look deeper or look within you and everything. And it's very easy to say that until some of the problems around you are monetary and AI can solve it. So then you've got someone locked up. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about finding problems and solving them with simple AI or simple tech, whether it's DevOps, whether it's front end, back end, networking, whichever area.
So I think uh finding problems, they come in two ways. So you
Mm,
could actively find a problem, or you could encounter a problem.
got it.
Yes. So actively finding a problem is okay, we do something, my team does something very consistently too many times, and to do that thing is very cumbersome.
All right.
So you have actively found a problem. How can I make this process easy?
Right.
Yes. And like I said earlier, I encountered things like this, for my team, and I automated those processes. So this is one type of finding a problem. The other
Mm,
problem, the other type is encountering the problem.
got it.
Yes. So I can give a direct example. Uh, my girlfriend played this song from Scissor, Snooze, and it's a really nice song. It's a really, really, really nice song. And I said to myself, I like the way the song is. I want to have 10 other songs like this so I can listen to. So I just said to myself, how can I do this? Okay, I can go into ChatGPT and say, ChatGPT, give me 10 songs that sound like Snooze from Scissor. And ChatGPT gave me 10 songs. And that was one problem I solved. Then I encountered another problem. I said to myself, how do I get these songs onto my Spotify? Man, I have to go and look for the songs one by one and add them to a playlist. That's another problem. So this is a problem I encountered while I was just living life. I just encountered this problem. So I said, how can I solve this? Okay, I can leverage the API from ChatGPT. I can use the client secret and the client key,
Mm,
API key from Spotify.
mm,
I can, have inputs that I can derive from a user, fix those inputs into ChatGPT in the background. ChatGPT provides me with a list of songs, and I can aggregate and curate those lists of songs in such a way that I can search for them in Spotify and automatically create the playlist just by one tap.
mm,
So I actually wrote an application. I wrote a service for myself and my girlfriend where we hear a song. So we just think of the song, we could just, put it in, and then a list of songs come in, and then we can automatically create the playlist directly in Spotify just by clicking it.
mm,
So these are some of the problems that you can encounter in your daily life, and while you solve them, you learn so many different things. So for this
mm,
particular example, I tried to monetize this project and apply for an extension of API quota from Spotify,
mm,
and it basically taught me how to implement the whole payment scheme for PayPal. So I wrote the
mm,
whole system. I have a whole payment layer that I can use in any kind of application, relating to PayPal. And it also taught me how to access different services,
mm,
using Cloud Run and access
mm,
Google credentials directly from Cloud Run and stuff like that. So I learned a variety of things and help me understand the application process for getting your application licensed with Spotify and stuff like that. So while you encounter such problems in your life, for an engineer, it is good not to be passive
mm,
about such problems. It's good
mm,
not to be uh, 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 to not shed a blind eye, because while you try to fix those problems and understand them, you become a better engineer.
mm,
So to answer your question in the beginning, two types of problems. You could actively find a problem and solve it, or you could be aware and you could be observant to past problems in your life, problems that you may encounter, and then
Mm,
try to solve. Yeah.
right. Before I go to my last question, I just want to know if you have a PDF for the prayer you prayed for that girlfriend who is helping you do very good tech projects. Because
Hey,
we need that PDF. We need that PDF because she's helping you become a good techie.
Charlie, don't be easy, don't be easy, don't be easy, don't be easy. But we see the thing personally for me, yeah, she's been great. She's been great to my journey.
Mm,
I wasn't looking. I wasn't
right,
looking. I was never a relationship person.
right,
Till I found that I was never a relationship person. Charlie,
right,
enjoy life. I just enjoy life.
right,
That was my mantra. Yeah, but
right.
Charlie, after some time you will meet some people and she say, "Oh, Charlie,
I can't let you go.
relax."
Is she a
Is she a
techie?
techie?
Is she
Is
a
she a
techie
techie
by
by
chance?
chance?
She
She's tech
no,
savvy.
she's a yeah, reasonably tech savvy. Yeah, she handles customer care for
Okay.
Google Ads. Yes, so
Okay.
yeah, she works directly with.
That's nice. That's nice. We're about to end, and I've always known that having you on the pod will be electrifying, and you've done justice. If I, yeah, you're gonna make me accelerate releasing this episode before the time. But you've given your good final words and everything about learning and all that. What is the next exciting project you want to do, both on a personal level and also on like a wider scale for your career? What's the next thing you probably want to do? Become a Bezos or become a household? I don't know, Joojo Dontoh talking technologies. Like, oh, I'm just intrigued. Like, what's the next exciting thing you want to do in your tech
Okay,
career?
to be very honest with you, my tech journey is mostly inspired by the ability tech gives you. So
Mm,
for many different professions, you get to impact a few people, you get to impact one or two people.
mm,
But being an engineer allows you to solve a problem that affects millions of people,
all right.
many lives.
Right,
Being able to stretch, being able to write something and produce something out of literally nothing
right,
that could help the lives of so many people, it's very intriguing for me. So some of the things I look forward to in my career are being able to affect more and more users. So the first company I worked with, uh we had about 8,000 users. Now I work with a company that has about 90 million, which I
mm,
really love.
mm,
And specifically for where I work, the service or the team I work with identity access management, which means I get to affect all the users, and it's a very intensive system. So being able to affect many people is what I look forward to.
mm,
So I I am thinking, some of the next steps of my career is to work with bigger companies where I have a broader impact
mm,
on lots of people and being able to help lots of people, because that is very gratifying to me.
mm, mm,
And I wrote a small. I said earlier I wrote a small Spotify application. I'm working on getting it registered,
mm,
and then I could share it with everyone. Yeah, it's basically an application I wrote on ChatGPT and Spotify. You get to input a list of things that you would like about certain songs, and it generates a playlist for you. You can generate it directly in Spotify. So I may probably have that out soon.
Jojo, I think you're not I think you're not celebrated as much as I think you're supposed to. Hey, relax. Let me
I know reach. I don't reach.
fair. No, listen, maybe let me explain. You may think you know reach, but um people always say that the Nigerians are very, go getting. They're always loud about the things they do, but naturally Ghanaians are, conservative. And for me, I have tried to debunk that. So naturally, the nature of my personality is I'm all out there. If you go down my family line, I have danced in front of stage before. I've done a lot of things from childhood. So all that I'm doing now, my parents are not surprised that I am very much social person. That's who I am. If you cage me like you've caged me in the house and the city that I'm currently in, that's also a different conversation for a different day. But it's all different seasons. But me seeing how like your level of intentionality is very inspiring for me, because honestly, after I finished my machine learning stuff, I was wondering. I mean, I'm still doing a bit of machine learning, data engineering, DevOps. I'm a consultant, so I'm doing a wide range of stuff. I haven't really actively built projects outside of when I was in my master's or anything. But then when I just see the level of, curiosity, and even from the conversation, I'm a musician. But I would have never imagined, because there are music that I really like. I've never even thought about Spotify. I mean, okay, to my credit, I recently put an invitation out there to try and, make Ghanaian memes, okay, like, accessible. So maybe that's the closest bit of, collaboration project that I
So
would
some kind of like a
like
Giphy, right?
exactly, or give you away whatever it is we can have internally for our, because we have a lot of good memes and then we don't have any way to label them. You search is difficult. So who knows? Maybe you could also come and advise on that Slack channel, but that's for a different day. But yeah, all I just want to say is, yeah, you may not necessarily have reach, you may not even feel like you're ready for the whole TEDx talks and everything. That's fine, but I don't think it's too far. I don't think it's too far. So I think,
That's so nice of you to say.
yeah, I don't think it's too far. So just keep cracking on, and keep cracking on the personality side, keep cracking on the tech side, and also I'm just a bit sad that you said you're not actively mentoring people. And maybe that is the only thing I would say. If you could have a
The
duplicate
term,
for
yeah.
you, the time, I know, if you could just spread it out a little bit, I think some people out there would really benefit from your design thinking, your approach to problem solving, and who knows, potentially also become business partners or collaborators. I don't know what it is, but that is for you to X. Or maybe it's your 2024 assignment. The Lord has sent me to deliver a word to you.
Yes, we
So
can definitely look into that.
definitely. But Jojo, thank you so much for making time. I really enjoy this conversation.
Thank you for having me. It's been a great conversation, and yeah, you could just send me the links once you post this out. I'll share it on various platforms
That'll be
for
very kind. That'll be
whoever
very
wants to listen to it. It's
that'll
been a
be,
lovely conversation.
thank you. Thank you.
It's nice to get to know you too. I can consider you as my friend now.
Fair, we are friends now. So whenever you come to the UK, please do not hesitate to come over.
So that's what's up. That's what's up.
That is good. Transitioning from tutorial videos to real world projects is a crucial step in your tech journey. Embrace the challenges, learn from your mistakes, and celebrate your accomplishments. Thank you for listening. See you in the next episode.